guys, and welcome back to the 26th episode of Mindless Podcast. This is technically episode 22, but it wasn't, because we had a part 2 for episode 22 that we didn't ever write down, because we didn't know we were going to do a part 2 of the theoretical situational, what would you do if kind of situation. And that messed up everything. So this is recorded after we did conspiracies, so we're back in order. But what was advertised as Devil vs. Angel, we now warped it because we already filmed it with Devil vs. Angel, and we don't really want to read off of a script for the next 40-ish minutes because that just wouldn't be too fun. So instead, we've split up what we had from Devil vs. Angel into 3 sections for 3 stories. So each of us will do a section of a different story. And we are going to go by the foundations of what we had in the Devil vs. Angel recording that never went up, and we will dramatize it, is that a word? Even more.
Make it more interesting. Add storytelling.
Yeah. So in this is the one where we get our brain cell back. So if we talked about our brain cell in the past couple episodes, it's because we technically had it but didn't publish the recording because we didn't realize that it existed until it was too late, and it was exactly 4 hours after Skype deleted the recording from our chat.
Oh wait, that's why? I thought like the recording itself was corrupted. We just forgot about it till Skype
No,
deleted
after
it.
a month, Skype deletes your recording, so
we forgot about the Devil vs. Angel episode for a month?
Well, in retrospect, we were really ahead of editing, so that one didn't have to come out until like a week or 2 ago. So we were already done with all the things previous, so we decided to take a little bit of a break, and we're like always about 2-3 episodes ahead in recording. So yeah, it was a month, and we hadn't touched it because they already did the episodes before and after, and we're like, wait, where's the brain cell story? Where is the Devil vs. Angel? And then we scroll back and we're like, we just missed it. Eva reminded me too when she was editing. She was like, oh yeah, here's the thing. And I'm like, okay, sweet, brain cell story. She's like, there's no brain cell story there. And I'm like, she's like, I never edited it. And I'm like, no, it's in the Google Drive. I saw episode 22 in there. We're fine. And I edit episode 22 and I'm like, where's the brain cell story? I want to drag that up a little bit. And I scrolled through the entire thing in my editing app and then realized, oh no, this is not episode of Devil vs. Angel. So then I scroll back through all the stuff in the drive. I look through all my trash, whatever, wasn't there, and I'm like, we messed up. I sort of kind of messed up.
Sad. It was so sad.
So
that was the peak of my comedic genius. I'm
really
such a good storyteller.
It was really good. So without further ado, that was a really long intro, but that's why our brain cell story that was advertised never went up, but it's going to go up today. So stay tuned because it'll come up at some point.
Oh,
Eva,
also the art I drew is
the art
the last story.
Amazing.
So it's honestly, I mean, it's okay. I probably couldn't redraw it better now. I'll be able to redraw it better in a couple months. But it would, I suppose it doesn't, we don't need context for it, but it'd be nice. Mm-hmm. So it's based off of the final story that we're telling.
Mm-hmm. So technically we're not as much mindless anymore, but we like
still... Well, I mean, it was in our mind that we didn't have.
So we now have one communal brain cell after this episode. But yeah, Eva,
spoilers. You can't just tell them
it.
that. They have to see.
We have mentioned it in the other episodes because we thought we were gonna like release the brain cell one, so it makes sense. So after like you guys get the riddle, like yes, our brain cell. It's kind of
yeah. So if we ever said that,
released.
Sorry guys.
We might just seem. If we just seemed slightly odder than usual, we promised we were referencing something that exists. We haven't all just gone in. We promise. We aren't just being strange, being quirky, a trademark, where we had a purpose.
We were just psychics, and we knew what was going to happen in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Right. Not professionals, but psychics. We love that. So, the riddle, what question can you never answer yes to?
There are lots of questions you can't answer yes to.
Is this something stupid like, do you not know how to say yes? And then you say yes, and then technically you do know how to say yes.
Mm-mm.
Is it something that's like clever? Like, oh, haha, I get it. That's a pun.
No, it's not.
So it's not a pun?
It's not a pun. This is a legitimate, like, oh yeah, that's true.
We can never say we're adults, or at least not now.
Well, yes, but I'm assuming this is
It
general.
doesn't pertain to like kids.
Oh.
It's
It's
general.
a question no one can say yes to. Are you dead?
Close. I mean, I guess I can give it to you. Because, yeah, that's kind of the same thing. The answer was, are you asleep yet? I mean, yeah, if you're dead, also the same, like, logic. So, yeah.
Okay, so the first one, originally this was one that Eva did as a angel, and then Heather did as the devil. So, it's Karen and Jeff on date. Take it away.
It was Valentine's Day, and Karen and Jeff were going to go on a date, first date, so first impressions matter, okay? So Karen and Jeff, they had reservations for a really nice restaurant, but unfortunately it was overbooked and they didn't have a table for them. But luckily there was a cute ice cream shop nearby and they went there. But Karen was lactose intolerant, which really made Jeff mad because he just wanted a latte, but out of the kindness of his heart, he saw that they had some pastries instead, and he was like, it's fine, I'll just get a bagel. He just wanted that latte. Karen didn't notice because she's kind of an idiot, but it's cool. But, you know, so they ate some pastries instead. Then they went to the pond, and while Karen wasn't looking, because she was munching down her like 10 bagels, she's lactose intolerant, doesn't understand the true deliciousness of a latte, but it's cool. So Jeff doesn't really like his bagels, so he just gave them to the ducks. But unfortunately, he fed them so much bagels that the ducks pooped on Karen's dress. Jeff kind of snickered. He snickered and whispered it under his breath, Karma's a Karen. But once again, Jeff is a nice guy. He took off his jacket and he gave it to Karen. Kind of upset because that was one of his favorite jackets, but now he's gonna poop on it. That's unfortunate. But luckily he just said he'll make his mom wash it off later, and they just continued walking around while Karen ate her bagels.
Was my video weird?
I think it was fine. I don't know. I wasn't looking at your video.
I couldn't see your video.
Cause I thought you were like making those faces at me, and I was like, is my face weird?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, I was making the faces at Eva, and also because you were making faces too, I was making faces like in commune with you. We were reacting
miscommunication
together.
of facial cues. I was just like, my face. Is it okay?
No, but it was really funny, especially because Eva just turned Jeff into just like an absolute.
Honestly, we love
No,
that. Okay.
because he's a nice guy. What'd I say? Okay.
Okay, so they're taking a stroll around the park. There's a little bit of tension there. And unfortunately, they went to a dog park. And Karen is scared to death of dogs, so she runs off in the other direction. And honestly, Jeff at this point is just sort of kind of sitting there like, do I run after her? Do I stay here and play with the doggos? Because at this point, the date's going so bad that, like, you know, either way works. But he's like, no, chivalry is not completely dead. We're gonna go after her. He goes after her, and they caught her up at the gift shop, looking at cute little knickknacks, and yeah. So, unfortunately, they're both broke, so they couldn't buy anything, because they each brought like $10 and spent it all on their previous little mini adventures. So, they pulled together the little bit of money they had left, and they got a card for Karen's mother. Unfortunately, Karen's mother's dead. So they gave the card to the grave and got some nice talking to.
I forgot that her mom was dead.
Just coming out of left field.
So they got to talk and get to know each other better, and by the time they were done talking, it was nightfall, and they were sitting in the middle of the cemetery. Fortunately, the skeletons that rose from the grave were all nice, and they danced around them. Unfortunately, the skeletons were more like corpses instead of the usual cartoon skeletons you see in movies. And then Karen and Jeff froze in fear for a little bit. After their initial shock, they ran all the way back to Jeff's car and drove back to the pond watching the scenery.
So now the two, Jeff and Karen, are driving out under the beautiful moonlight of the evening. Night has fallen. It's been a really long day, honestly, like a solid couple of hours. They didn't like each other's presence at first, but now they've decided that they like each other. They've decided that they've grown fond of each other, right? So they've decided that they like each other, which is nice, especially considering how rocky it started out with, right? So they're driving along around the road, and then they roll to a stop, and Jeff turns to Karen and says, "Baby, I love you very much."
First date, huh? First date in. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I can't get over the baby. The monotone baby.
What is it, honey? Karen asked. Our car is broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk and get some more fuel. Okay, I'll stay here and look after our stereo. There have been news reports of stairs being stolen.
I love the voices you're giving.
We love that. She's an actor.
I know.
Good idea. Keep the door locked no matter what. I love you, Sweaty. I can't do this with a straight face. I'm not a good actor. Good idea. Keep the door locked no matter what. I love you, Sweaty. So the guy left to get full.
I'm trying so hard not to disrupt the audio and your reading, but it's so funny.
Between the silent laughter happening right about now.
Can't do it.
I'm reading off the meme now, and I forgot that this is the direct quote. It says, "So the guy left to get full for the car."
To get full?
So the guy left to get full for the car.
So he ate a bunch of burritos so they'd have gas for the car.
Oh no, he's walked to get some more fuel. But he's staying there because there have been reports of stairs being stolen. So the guy left to get full for the car. After 2 hours, the girls say, "Well, where's my baby? He was supposed to be back by now." Then the girl hears a scratching sound and a voice that says, "Let me in."
That just sounds like a teenage boy.
We're gonna have to cut so much of this. Okay. And a voice says, then the girl hears a scratching voice and a voice that says, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it, and after a while, she goes to sleep. The next morning, she wakes up and finds her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check, and man door hand hook car door.
The end.
The end. Moving on.
Get the reference.
We're either gonna have to do some very sneaky cuts in there or something, or I should just read it all again because I didn't do it with a straight face.
No, it's fine because most of them are on audio,
I think the laughs make it better. But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah,
all right.
I like it with the laughs. Yeah.
That was a really hard try not to laugh because I don't want to interrupt her reading or make her laugh or the audio, but it was so freaking funny.
I didn't know what to do for the let me in because I don't think I have a good creepy low voice because the voice I did for the dude was like, "Baby."
I can't do it with a straight face.
Wait, were you the person that goes, "You'll never call your significant other that"? Because
I probably won't call them babe, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't have a significant other.
It's even weirder hearing you say that because you're not the type of person to really go for that kind of stuff.
I mean, I don't know.
I love how she's impersonating a male with a straight monotone face.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, I love you guys.
Oh no, where is my baby? He should be back by now.
Oh no, where is my baby? He should be back by now.
I know, I love how you raised and lowered. There was no just your voice. It was raised, lowered, and let me in.
It's because I don't think I have a good I don't think I can go too much lower than the baby. I don't have that much of a chest. I mean,
That
Like,
day that we were in the park and we all tested how high and low we can go, like with the phone.
Mhm.
Oh man, I don't know how they do it,
like,
but okay.
let me in. Like, I can't get lower than that, and that just sounds silly.
Oh
So I
my
may as well
God.
sound silly on purpose by being
Yeah.
like, let me in. I'm good at whining. I do it a lot.
We love that. So if you didn't get the reference, like surely someone in your life will, but if not, Heather, you want to do a quick explanation of where you got that from?
All right.
I'll
So
probably
when we
not.
originally recorded this episode, we got like halfway through this, and I remembered this meme, and I read it almost verbatim because I felt like I pulled it up here. If it looks like I was reading off something, it's because I was. I remembered this. I remember this meme. It's the Mandor hand hook car door meme. It's sort of like it's from this like this really like strange horror post. It's like it's like this post for like a horror story forum. I don't know too much about how it originated, but it became a huge meme just because of all of like the weird. I mean, all of like the weird stuff inside it. Sort of like our car's broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk and get some more fuel, and then the woman says, "Okay, I'll stay here and look after our stereo that have been," which is like I mean,
Mhm.
like stereo theft is strange, but then she says there have been reports of stairs being stolen,
Yeah.
and it's just sort of like the little things within it that make it just a little bit odd, like the poor grammar, the misspelling, like "I love you, sweaty," and then the fact that at the climax it just literally devolves into incomprehensiveness. Like she gets out to check in man door, hand hook, car door, and then that's it. It's like you can't even like use context clues to figure out what happened,
Mhm.
right? And this makes it less funny because it's always when you explain jokes in this amount of detail, it becomes less funny.
Yeah. I swear we're not high when recording this. That's what we're trying to say. We're not high.
Well,
Like
no,
this is
I don't
purposeful.
think we were inferring that, but right, it's the meme. You can just search up man door hand
Mhm.
hook car door meme and see it, and then you can read it yourself, and it'd probably be more funny, right? But I remember this meme like halfway when we were halfway through this, and I was doing unfortunately. So after Eva had the last fortunately, and I knew we were supposed to be wrapping up, I brought us into the evening driving scene, and I essentially paraphrased the entire story and ended with Mandor hand hook car door, and I thought it was great. It was funny. It was a obvious reference to a known piece of media. It was out of left field. I did it well. I executed it well. I kept a straight face, which I didn't do this one, and it was good. And after I finished, everyone in the call sat there and stared at me with a blank face, and I was like,
I mean, like, you have to give it to us. Like, we didn't get it, and especially because you said it with a straight face, we thought you were being serious, and we're looking at you like, the
I
heck
know
is
the
she
meme.
on?
I just like it didn't like register because I was like so ready to like have to keep going. And so when
Mhm.
she didn't stop, I was just like, "What?" I was confused, but I get it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
it didn't get it. It was so, in my
Honestly, if
opinion,
we had the
and
initial footage, I would love to put that in there right now. I was just blankly staring at you like, what?
yeah, it's such a shame. And like, maybe I didn't execute it well. Maybe that's just me, but I thought it was very well done. And then nobody, it was so sad. It was so sad. I was like, "Oh, no one got my joke." Sad. Um, but yes, anyway, so there's me ranting on the unculturedness of my fellow podcasters.
I think that's
Really a
just you.
shame.
Like, I've never heard that one before.
No, I've
Ever.
never heard of
I've heard it.
editor. Is she around? I don't know if she's
I don't
around.
think she's around.
I'm here for once.
Yay! Were you familiar with the with the car door hand hook car with man door hand hook car door story?
I
Mandor hit
was, but
car
I
door
didn't
car
realize
man.
that was what you were doing until the very end.
That was
Exactly. So there.
Exactly,
that was the
same.
point.
Like when she started, it wasn't registering
No,
because I
but
was like,
yeah.
oh, is she done yet? But then at the end, I was like, oh.
But like everyone else, I was just like, why is she still talking?
Yeah.
But
I got it.
I was
just-
looking at Heather and I was like, sweetie, one sentence.
I know you. I saw you raised your hand, and I was like, but at
You
that
need to
point, I was
finish it.
committed to the bit. So I
Yeah.
saw I was like, yeah, she wants me to stop talking, and I just steamrolled over it anyway. But the whole point of the joke I was trying to make is that you don't realize what I'm doing until I deliver the Mandor Handheld Card Door story, and then you're like that was the point. Except then it fell flat because you were just waiting for me to be finished instead of actually engaged. That was on me. That was my bad. Anyway.
Okay, so after that whirlwind of a meme into a story, we're gonna talk about someone on a deserted island. So who's starting with this one?
I think I am.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a deserted island story. So this is guy Tim, and he wants a break from modern society, or so he says. The truth is, I'm giving you the backstory here. He gets made fun of at the office. His arms are a little too long. His coworkers call him orangutan. But that's not what he claims. He just needs a break from society.
Tackle me.
I thought you were going to use my earlier example from before, but you just made it so much better.
I didn't want to steal your. I originated, but I'm not gonna completely steal it. So yeah. So Mr. Orangutan, he's gonna go to a deserted island where no one can make fun of his arms, except for the actual orangutans, and so he can go relax, from being bullied. But unfortunately, after he caught the flight, right, and he was breaking down sobbing, and he forgot to bring supplies. But you know what? Mr. Tim Tam is a naturalist, and he doesn't need any supplies, okay? So he's walking around the deserted island, and he sees some dinosaurs, and he's like, oh no. And he starts freaking out, because we have to make fun of his long arms, and they call him orangutan. He tried to escape, but only to be brought back by more torture. But it's okay. They're just huge carvings. And you know what? Mr. Tim Tam, he just sits down, pulls out a sketchbook, and he just, doodles up a storm. He's great. And he journals all the way till nightfall, and then he realizes, shoot, he didn't bring a tent. He's got no shelter. He doesn't know what he's going to do. I don't know how we got Tim Tam, but it's in the thing, so I just said it. I don't remember where it came from.
So Mr. Tim Tam is like, man, I don't have a place to sleep. That sucks. And then he slowly turns around, office style, to look at the gigantic dino statues that he was drawing. He was like, you know what? I can just sleep under those. Like, shelter from the elements. It's like, I can just nestle myself under the belly of this Parasaurolophus and we'll all be good. And so he did. Unfortunately, the Parasaurolophus wasn't feeling super steady. It wasn't feeling too great. It was a little bit weak, a little bit shaky, some cracks around the edges. It was old. You know how old people get. No, that's rude. I shouldn't say that.
Are you implying? I don't want to spoil it, but are you implying the old people just collapse and break other people's legs?
Oh no, I'm going down.
You know how old things get? They're unreliable. Have you ever seen have you ever seen some of those old buildings? It looks like you could throw a shoe at it and it would fall down, right?
I keep, in my mind, I replace old things with old people. So just, you know how old people are? You can throw a shoe at them and they'll fall down.
I'm so sorry.
No. But so unfortunately, middle of the night, there was a gust of wind that was just a little too strong. And the entire dinosaur, huge stone thing, hewn of rough rock, that's been standing for hundreds and hundreds of years, just collapses. Just gigantic pile of rubble right down onto Tim Tam. But he didn't die, so that's nice, right? Yay for survival. Unfortunately, he no longer... his legs were casualty to the gigantic rock crumble, so he is stuck. He is very much stuck under this big, heavy, now deceased stone Parasaurolophus. But luckily, he has I guess it's sort of lucky for him. Earlier in the week, he had called on his friend Tom, his fellow long-armed compatriot of Smackle Accounting Company, which is where they work. They bond over the bullying, right? So Tom was going to head out to join him on his deserted island, and so he's like, "Well, it's okay. I can just wait here for Tom to come see me. I mean, there's a bunch of gigantic stone dinosaurs here. It's not like he's gonna miss it, right? So I'll be fine. He'll come. He'll come and save me." Uh, so Tim Tam waits there under the dinos with no food and water, which sucks. And Tom, after a couple hours, himself lands on the island and begins to look for Tim because Tim Tam said he would meet Tom at the beach and then didn't. So Tom is like, that's probably troublesome. So he goes off to try and find Tim Tam. You know, see how he's doing. Make sure he's not like crying in a bush somewhere because of the orangutan thing, right? Unfortunately, Tom runs into a bear and is just eaten. Rest in pieces, Tom. He's dead now. Moving right along.
Okay, so fortunately, even though Tom died, the bear was not interested in the supplies that Tom brought along. And Tim finds the supplies eventually after dragging his whole entire body with just upper body strength all the way over to wherever the heck Tom landed. And Tim finds the cell phone and calls for help. Coast Guard picks it up and goes, "Sorry, bud, there's another person on another deserted island. You're gonna have to wait 2 days." So Tim drags himself and all his supplies back to a stream. Mind you, his legs still do not work. He is crawling like army style over. And by the time he gets to the stream, he's like, "Okay, we're just gonna rest here for a little bit. My legs are broken, we're just gonna try and sleep it off, like the next 2 days, sleep as much as possible and just get it over with." But Tim got bitten by a bunch of mosquitoes. And I didn't say this when I originally put in the story, but Eva decided to write it in. And it goes, "Uh-oh, itchy, ooh."
That was the editor.
So fortunately, the Coast Guard carried remedies for bug bites and took in Tim Tam after they got him 2 days later.
And he
Okay.
survived, and his legs were healed. I think
Were they really? I feel like they had to be amputated by now.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, but he's still alive, which is honestly, considering what he's gone through, like, man.
The bullying he must go through if he has like prosthetic legs or something like that now, along with his long arms.
Well, he should get longer prosthetic legs
yeah.
and then they'll match.
Yeah.
It'll, like, kind of be proportional.
Is that what I have to go through?
It's fine.
Because originally you guys were like, "Oh yeah, Tim's gonna be short, and then Tim's gonna have long arms," so that's what I'm gonna have to go through, guys. So I will see you guys back a month later after having a friend die via bear, after absolutely destroying all my legs via dinosaur.
Oh god, which one of us is gonna become Bear Chow?
Honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Who wants to go with me to an island? Anyone?
I nominate Editor. Editor can be Bear Chow.
We trust her because in this next story, you're gonna see Editor.
Editor's gonna hate me after this one. I have the middle bit, which is like solely clowning on her, and she's going to hate me so bad.
So now we're on to the third one, the most important one. This actually happened. Okay.
I apologize in advance, Editor, but it won't be funny if I don't drag you as much as I possibly can.
We love you, though. It's fine. She's a badass at the end of the day, Okay, so this is our communal brain cell adventure. So Seneca hasn't been doing our podcast the last few weeks because she's on an adventure to get our brain cell back. Because originally, Eva got the brain cell that I sent to be an eagle to her, and she fed it to another bird. Okay, so, the usual. So Seneca heads out on adventures with her skills in fencing and her supplies, but almost immediately on her path there, she gets a concussion, as she always does. This is her third concussion by now? Fourth? I'm just saying. So it's not too bad. Hearing and vision are chill, but she can't hear anything loud, which is one of the many excuses she used to get out of what we do as a group. And so she can't hang out with us, we can't go help her because we're too loud. Once we're all together, we just start screaming at each other like maniacs. So she can't hang out with us.
If we get up, if there's a group of more than 3 of us at one place in one time, we just scream. That's all we do.
So
It's just just screaming.
Even just me and Seneca, when we go to get chips, we're screaming on the way there.
Screaming on the way back. It's a scream
Honestly.
fest. We can't be quiet.
We can't be there with her. So no loud noises. So she has to go out solo, and she's going to the Redwoods. Now, originally, the plan was all of us would meet her there, and we would all go together. So there's one person that didn't get the memo. We'll get to that later. And she's on her way. She's trekking down the path. Who knows where she thinks the brain cell is. And she fell and hurts her back. Another common Seneca injury. So now she's just sort of kind of laying there. And she's like, okay, I'm still the only one on this mission. I've got to get the brain cell because these idiots are all going to die without it. Without our communal brain cell. So her kneecaps are still okay. She can still walk. So she's like, okay, we're going to go do this.
All right. So now our journey takes us back to Editor, who had sorry, I can hear myself somewhere and it is throwing me off.
Is it Melanie then? Because I can also hear you echoing through someone.
The terror. All right. Okay. So now Editor, who had embarked on a journey to join Seneca, on the path to find this communal brain cell, was now on the island, and she was, looking about, doing what the Editor does, which is, I don't know what the Editor does. She, gosh, oh, she's gonna hate me. Oh my goodness. So, eventually, Editor happens upon Seneca, who's just, kind of crutching about. Seneca's hurt her back, but she's fine. She has her kneecaps, so she can still walk. But Editor sees those kneecaps, and she just cannot contain herself. It's like instinct. She just pounces. And before she knows it, Seneca's on the floor, kneecapless. And Editor holds them up in her hand triumphantly. Winner! Master of the kneecaps. And then in her new violence-filled craze, Editor carries on the journey with an extra pair of kneecaps, I guess. I don't know if she's going to do anything with them, but she has them now, so that's nice. And leaves Seneca on the floor. Seneca just sort of like lying on the forest floor. She'll be fine. Someone else will find her and deal with her, right? So now Editor is our main character on this journey, and she goes forth. Unfortunately, I don't know how to wait. I don't know. I genuinely don't know if there's a good way to put this. Editor has been given that they screwed up Editor's prescription, and she has the wrong drugs. She's got the wrong prescription drugs, and so she's a little bit out of it, as one can imagine would happen if one takes the incorrect prescriptive drugs. So she's a little woozy, but she carries on because she knows this is important. She fights through it. It's okay, but unfortunately, it makes her really easily distracted. So she's just sort of wandering off into the woods somewhere. Now, Melanie has also finally gotten to the island to join the two of them on their journey. And she needs to talk to the birds to find the brain cell. One thing that you may or may not know about Melanie is she has a vast, strong, sort of unreasonable hate for anything that flies. Just all birds.
Not anything that flies, just birds. Most birds.
I mean, I assume you're not a big bug person either, and there isn't that much more that flies.
I know, I was thinking bugs too.
What are your opinions on bats, Melanie?
I never want to see them ever. That's so scary.
Anything that flies.
I don't hate planes.
Animals.
Actually, no, I do. Like, I don't hate planes in general, but I don't like flying because I feel like I'm gonna fall out of the sky.
When I'm saying anything that flies, I mean any animal that flies, Melanie.
Oh, most. I'd say most.
Yes. Just the whole avian species, she wants to bash in with a rock. It's horrible, right? But she needs to talk to them to find the brain cell, and she knows it's important, so she decides that she's just gonna she's just going to, do it anyway. So she goes off to find some birds to talk to about the brain cell. And she stumbles upon Seneca, still sort of like, lying on the floor, kneecapless. And Melanie's like, "Hey, where's editor? I'm looking for. We're late for this episode. Come on, we have a time crunch and we can't start it if editor's not here to record the call. Come on, we've got things to do. We've got places to be. We're behind." And Seneca just sort of like mumbles something incoherent and flaps an arm in one direction. And Melanie's like, "Great, thanks," and leaves Seneca on the floor because she has more important things to be doing. So, unfortunately, I'm sorry. It's taking a little bit of brain power to connect all of these points because they're a little.
I know. I'm sitting here like trying to piece together what I'm gonna say.
Yes. So there's an 8-bird cloven that guards the brain cell, and this is what both Melanie and Editor are looking for, right? Except Melanie didn't know that it was guarded by 8 birds. And she knew birds were involved, right? So she was like kind of prepared, but she didn't know about the cloven, right? Mm. So she goes up to the temple, and she sees the 8 birds, and she just is filled with rage. And the cloven sees her, and they're like, "Yeah, not gonna happen," right? So they're not gonna tell her anything. They're not gonna give her anything. Melanie doesn't want to ask nicely anyway. So they just sort of the cloven goes and flies off to some of their more fuzzy animal ambassadors and talks to one of the foxes and is like, "Hey, can you get this lady? Like, we're kind of worried for our citizens here. I mean, she's just, can you get her away?" So some of the foxes come and they sort of like herd Melanie off, and so she, very zombie-like, sort of like shuffles off back into the forest, eyes glazed, looking for something to kill, right? Mm. And at this point, Editor, who has been sort of wandering aimlessly about the forest, getting distracted by everything she sees, finally runs into a bird who knows what they're doing. And this bird sees her and connects her back with Melanie, who is also looking for a brain cell, and was like, "Oh, I get it. These are the same people. They want the brain cell, right?" So the bird patiently guides Editor up to the temple where the cloven is, the brain cell temple. And so they reach the doors, and they reach the temple, and the birds say to Editor, they're like, "It's okay, just down there, just go down these steps, and you will find that's where the head bird is there. You can talk to them. You can find the brain cell down there." And Editor's like, "Great, chill," and she says goodbye to the birds and just immediately falls down the stairs, just comic style, just full on like somersault. Move onto the floor. It's really quite impressive if you think about it. Anyway.
Okay, so the head bird, he's taking all his birds out because, she can find it. And then they look back and they're like, "Oh, she might have a concussion now because she fell down 8 flights of stairs. Jerry, you go check up on her just in case she needs any help because I don't trust her in there." He's like, "Okay." So, she can't find the brain cell, but, Jerry's really nice and he's like, here it is. But it's a chest and it's locked. And she's sitting there, she's like, And it's like, "Yeah, there's a password. You need to guess a password, and then you're worthy and you can get it." And she's like, And after 5 minutes of just zoning out, she's like, "Hey, you know what? Hear me out. I had a headache this morning, and I went to the pharmacy, and they gave me the wrong drugs. They gave me this weird powder-looking stuff. Anyways, I took that in, and now I'm a little woo. So could you help a buddy out?" And he's like, He's like, "Okay." And so he brings out a little board, and he draws a little hangman, and he's like, "Try guessing." And she's like, I can't put this part in because I can't say on the podcast. But I really want to, but I can't. After getting distracted by some shiny things, because she's all woo, she's like, and she guesses some weird body parts. She guesses some species of birds. She guesses some plants. She guesses the name of a house. She guesses Abraham Lincoln. And he's like, "Oh my God." And she's like, He's like, no, those are all wrong. And she's like, dang it, what's the password? And he's like, you got it, password. That's the password. And she's like, what? And he's like, just shoves the brain cell. He's like, now get out because you fell down our stairs, you mucked up our place, and one of your people is like fighting the birds. Can you just leave? And so he shoves her out the door, and she's still like, okay. And she's got this thing, and she's like, Melanie, we gotta go. And she takes Melanie, who is still trying to get those right hooks, those jabs at them. But she's like, no, we gotta go. And then, she's still holding like the kneecaps. So, you know what? She goes back because she's not doing too great in the head. She like fell downstairs. She has the wrong prescriptions. So she's like, Melanie, you stay here. Don't fight the birds. I'm gonna be right back. And she goes over and she gives Jerry Seneca's kneecaps because she's like, there's a present for you. And then she takes Melanie and the brain cell and they find Seneca just kind of like thinking about life because what's she gonna do? She doesn't have her kneecaps. And they just scoop her up and we're on our way. And that's how we are here today.
God,
I
I think
if my hair looks a little bit weird, it's because I got in a fight with I won't talk about them. They don't deserve.
Really had the comedic genius of the brain cell today. All of your storytelling was very amusing, Eva.
Thank you.
That's great.
Now, yeah, in the original, we did not give Seneca's kneecaps away, but I thought that was funny. So
Yeah, it needs to go somewhere. Not back to her, of course. We don't do that here. Okay. So that was today's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. We had a ton of fun filming it the first time and the second time. So yeah, check back next week for a brand new episode of Mindless Podcast. And this time we have what we're going to do next week. And the week after, up until like 5 weeks later, we are pretty much set because we're prepared for once. Because we have our brain cell back.
Woo!
Okay. So yeah, we really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check back next week because tomorrow there's not going to be a bonus simply because this episode was so structured that we don't feel like there was anything out of context here. So yeah.
Maybe Melanie's
trailer goes up on Thursday for the next episode as usual on our YouTube and Instagram. And make sure to like, subscribe, do whatever you guys can do on the platform which you're watching or listening on. And we'll see you back really soon. Bye, guys.